What is up, everybody? This is Miguel Antonio Barragan, aka Fight Fiend Migs, joined as always by my co-host Andrew Don't Get It Twisted Lapachet, and this is the Mad Boxing Show, or Mad Boxing for short. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely Sunday morning. This is early morning for me. Normally, I would be asleep at this time, but thankfully, my co-host Andrew Labashake came in and saved the day. Earlier in the week on Wednesday, I had to go out of town. Now you're probably thinking, Migs, what's going on, dude? You're going out of town. What's happening? I'm going to fucking Tijuana, yo. I'm going to fucking Mexico. You know, I got a bookie down there who's being investigated for the FBI because of the UFC scandal. So I had to go fix some shit. Sorry, I had some loose ends. I had to go down there. Sorry, guys. I have to make sure that I'm here for you guys to make the show. So my apologies, but no, not really. I'm actually going down there and fixing my Mexican citizenship. So you are looking at a dual citizenship holder as of this weekend. So I had a lot of stuff going on this week. So I had a lot of things going on. But thankfully, Andrew stepped in, saved the day with a Wednesday show so we can stay as consistent with you guys as possible. But here I am back on this magnificent Sunday morning, 24 hours or a little under 24 hours removed from possibly one of the bigger fights of 2026 being announced that we're going to be talking about. Boots and Vergil Ortiz, who fought last night. Vergil Ortiz, I'm talking about in a wipeout. Not exactly what I thought was going to happen last night, but you know what? It ended up being that way. We're going to be talking about that. And of course, the face-off in the ring. Yeah, shit's getting fucking good. 2026 starting to look pretty damn good already. We're going to be revisiting the some extra details of the UFC FBI fight fixing scandal that has been rocking the MMA world and really fight combat sports in general, I suppose, because it's leaking all over the place. So we're going to be briefly discussing that and getting into throwing in some more details in there because, you know, this stuff that's going on. And then, of course, the announcement of Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson. It looks like we're going to get them in early 2026 as well. We're going to be talking about that with a pretty nice co-main event / undercard in Jared Anderson and Daniel Dubois, if that's legit. I'm down with that. So we're going to be talking about that. And then just a couple of added little, maybe we call it a filler, towards the very end, one, Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. Gervonta Davis in particular, his trainer saying like, hey, I think there's more shit going on here than what people are starting to think. So we want to touch into that, of course, towards the very end. But before we get into all of those details, because as is the custom, Andrew, got to check in with you. How are you doing this Sunday morning?
How's it going, Miguel? I'm doing good. Like I told you, the Raiders lost on Thursday night. It's not they played. It's the Raiders lost on Thursday night again. Another sad loss. So why not try to shoot a text to you in the morning and see if you get there? I'm better in the morning. I don't know. By the time the night times here, sometimes I'm already getting sleepy for. And what is it? The Monday blues is already coming, right? You already got to wake up at 4 a.m. and get ready for work. So I'd rather try to do a morning show. So that's why I threw you a text. Thank you for answering. Yeah, we'll see what happens here. That's it.
Who did Oakland play? Or I keep calling them that. Sorry, the Raiders. Who did the Raiders play?
I forget. Who do we lose?
Kansas City, or was it? What the fuck was it?
Oh, Broncos. You're right.
Denver.
Yeah, you are right.
Yeah,
and we lost at the end of the game.
Oh, that's right. I was actually on the road listening to the fucking radio station.
Yeah, it was a heartbreaking loss, but you know, I don't know what the Raiders are gonna have to do to change this, man. There was a stat out today. We've only had like 2 winning seasons in the last 20-something years.
Oh,
it's bad. It's a bad run for Mark. His dad a little too, but I mean, L was already so old. I'm not really blaming L. I am blaming the Davis family. I did jump. I don't know if I've already said that, but I am on that bandwagon that it's possibly just the Davis family needs to let go of the team. His dad, Miguel, is because of age. His dad was once a genius. He made the NFL. He helped the NFL grow, right? So his dad was a genius at one time, but then, you know, age got the best of his train of thought or whatever, and that was that. But he kept control of the team. But all the old timers back in this day that said the Raiders needed to sell when L. Davis was hitting those prime years, they were correct. I was like, fuck that, die with the king. It's his fucking team. He can do what he wants. When probably wasn't the best decision making going on upstairs from the bedroom. And then
Little did you know, 20 some odd years later, you're gonna be like, damn it,
yeah,
should have sold.
Because his son is just a knucklehead. It's not his son's fault. I don't know what's look, dude, his mom passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Like little videos coming out about his mom's life. Where are the pictures of him and her?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no growth with Davis in this family. It's so fucking weird, bro. And I hope Davis hears me one day and is like, fuck this guy, and just shoots hell of them on the Raider website.
Yeah.
But seriously, whenever there's a documentary being done on the Davis family, they don't have a lot in the Mark Davis being included in this family as he grows through the years. And what's really weird is they were a successful family. Hall of Fame speeches. You know how many L. Davis did for his players? Freaking Super Bowl speeches. Davis has 3 of them. Super Bowl parties. Davis has 5 of them. Where is your son? That's all I'm saying. There should be hella pictures of him and his dad like this, right?
Yeah.
Me and Pops. Me and AFC Championship victory. Because his son has to be like 40 in his 30s. You know, he's an adult when the Raiders are winning. So you think he would even be in the picture more. You think he would have throwback pictures of him and Marcus Allen and the guys like partying in LA somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not. It's so weird. It's so weird. But yeah, they might have to sell, bro. I just don't know if this team's gonna get it right. It's been a long time, and it's getting old. When you have only 2 winning seasons in 25 years, it's getting fucking old.
And just so we're on the same page, because it's been a while since I've watched football or the NFL, a winning season meaning at the end of the season you have more wins than losses?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Damn.
Yep. That's what that means, bro.
Ouch.
Ouch is right.
Oh, man. Do they get any slack for them being like, even? Are there any even? Is there just an odd number of games?
If you get a even season, fuck, your season next year is looking great, bro.
Like that looks promising. Fuck, damn.
Well, we're 1 player away from double-digit wins.
I know, right? Oh, yikes. Well, that's a bummer. I mean, I know we were like catching some of the game while I was on the road, trying to see what the hell's going on. But damn, what a way. Thankfully, it didn't happen this weekend. It was last Thursday. Fuck it, right?
And I'll give Gino one more thing. I'll give Gino his flowers for this week's game. He was limping. That boy was trying to gain a fan. He looked hurt. He looked like a deer hit by a car, and he was like, "Fuck that! Put me in, coach."
Yeah.
Running out there with 1 leg. I was like, "Oh my god." He's trying, you guys. Leave him alone. At least he didn't just go, "Oh, my leg," and go sit out with the fake bandage around the knee or some shit. He tried, but at the end, 2 men were wide open running, and he throws to the guy that gets the ball blocked. You know they always do that to you. Who knows if on live action it's real, but in the video it does clearly look like there might have been 2 other targets that would have been a lot easier for young Geno Smith.
Bummer. Well, there goes another season, I guess. I mean, I know we're what are we? Are we that half?
We're almost. We probably should already be chalking this one up as a
as a loss. Just add that one to the tally of the years that weren't winning. Might as well. Fuck. Good Lord. We know who's not tallying up any losses. Mr. Vergil Ortiz Jr. Holy hell. So if you guys missed it, I'm hoping you did not, yesterday, live on DAZN, which we'll talk about a little later on DAZN. Vergil Ortiz passed the test with flying colors against Erickson Lubin, who I honestly thought was going to be in there a little bit longer. We've seen, granted, he got tagged by and dropped early, I should say, finished by Charlo. But I thought, you know what, maybe, that was then, he's gotten some experience then. Maybe he was a little too green then. Maybe he just got cold. That happens, right? You get caught cold and yet you weren't warmed up properly. And we saw the ass whooping that he took at the hands of Fundora. I thought, okay, well, if he can take that for Fundora, he can take some shit, right? Yeah, no. And I don't want to say this to try to diminish Ortiz's victory over him, but it just looked like, Lubin is kind of there at that point where he just can't take the punishment anymore, right? And Sergio Mora mentioned it on the broadcast a few times. But regardless, Vergil Ortiz got himself a first round, I believe it was. They didn't even get. Did they get to the second round? No, they didn't. Right? It was the first round.
No. Second. It didn't
was it second round?
I did that too, but it does get to the second round. My wife corrected me earlier, bro.
Okay.
I thought the same thing.
So second round, TKO. Good move by the referee there, James Green, to recognize that Lubin was pretty much out on his feet with his back up against the ropes, and he jumped in there before Ortiz can land any more traumatizing punches, and then it called it second round TKO. Great win from Ortiz. Again, I was a little concerned, well, afterwards actually for Lubin, but at first I was like, you know what, Lubin, he can take a punch. And my buddy was texting me too. He's like, Ortiz TKO, and I was like, no, I don't think so. I think Ortiz is gonna go probably, later into this fight. I don't know if he's gonna stop Lubin per se, but I figured it was gonna go later on there, and he did none of that. So unfortunately, I guess Lubin is. I saw this on a recent. I think it was a comment or something on a video. Lubin is pretty much the 154 Tevin Farmer, pretty much at this point. It's like he's that guy. I don't know how much more he's got left in his career. He probably should call it quits because he can't take any shots, at least not on the elite level. If we're going to be talking about TKO, maybe he might want to look at the TKO on the way down, right? I mean, he got some paydays on the way down. Why not, right? But what made things extremely interesting after the fight, who comes into the ring, of course, and we knew they were going to be there. Oscar De La Hoya said it, and I think Eddie Hearn himself said it. We will be ringside in Texas for this fight with Lubin and Ortiz, because afterwards, what is often, the thing, the whatever next opponent is scheduled for the winner in this particular case, Ortiz steps into the ring and they do a face-to-face thing, and that got a little heated. I like that, right? It was nice. They were kind of going back and forth. It was, I don't know who was right or who was wrong. I mean, I guess that's not really the point, but Ortiz was kind of shutting Boots down with some of the stuff. He's like, no, it wasn't this. It was us retaliating to what you're saying, homie. And then at some point, Boots was like, oh, that doesn't matter now. We're going to do it. And it's like, no, fool, it does matter, fool. Like your points are garbage. Like we've been telling you XYZ how it's been, and you guys been calling me a duck and all this other shit, right? So it was very much he said, she said. They had a little bit of a debate, but again, at the end of the day, Boots is right. It doesn't really matter now. We are here. We're going to get the fight going. Thankfully, we're not going to need to tune up fights for Ennis, and that one fight was more than enough against Lima, I think it was. And anyway, so point is, it sounds as though we're going to be getting Ortiz and Boots Ennis in early 2026. I want to say the last time I heard Hearns talk about it, he did say, maybe like March or something like that. I want to say he said that. So we're looking at like Q1 of 2026, which is starting to stack up pretty fucking awesome. But before we get into the other stuff that have to do with the Texas Athletic Commission, Andrew, what did you see last night? What can we extract from this 1 or 2 round performance by Ortiz? Is there enough there for us to be like, okay, this is how Boots and Ortiz is going to turn out, when it does happen? Or was it just not enough information in 2 rounds?
Yes, it was enough information, because we going in, I thought Ortiz is one of the faces of boxing. I had said that on our build-up show for this fight, right? And I expected him to get him out of there within 6. He got him out of there in 2. I didn't think it would be that easy, but he's clearly showing who's the man at 154, right? Or one of the men at 154, because the division is very stacked right now. But this is 2 top 10 opponents now. Look, Lubin going into this fight, even though I didn't have him highly regarded, right? I had him getting out of there in 6. He still was on I think a 3-fight winning streak. 2 of the guys were undefeated. You add Israel Madrimov into that, another top 10 guy who just came off a huge win or loss, to Terrence Crawford, right? But a great performance for as young as he was.
Fight, yeah.
Exactly. Ortiz looking pretty hot right now, because he shut down Madrimov and he annihilated Lubin. Lubin didn't offer anything, he might have been still testing the power, bro. Like we
Mhm,
all know
mhm,
the kid has power, right? So you might want to see what it
mhm.
feels like and didn't get past it.
Yep, that's exactly what I texted my buddy. I was like, you know what? I think he just wanted to taste his power to be like, all right, can I take it? By that point, it was too late. He was already
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. Totally agree with you on that one. So yeah, what I got is he's ready. He's in his prime. He's very young, 28 years old, so they're ready.
Mm.
Um, I love the ending. Look, I called it right. You called it right. Both things we needed to happen happened. I wanted that knockout early. You wanted a face off. Bam! It was both there. I love the face off. I thought it was a little high schoolish when they were like, "No, you did it. You did it." I told my family, I wish someone would push one into each other. Let's set it off. Remember in high school, sometimes you had to shove the guy. Fucking just hit him, man. Stop fucking arguing. Bam, push him in. But nah, that was a little high schoolish. One thing I want get rid of is the betting, and that has nothing to do with the UFC.
Mhm.
It's just cheesy.
Yeah.
It's Miguel. You've never seen one time in Instagram someone go, "All right, here's the 500K that I said I was gonna pay him if he won. Here you go, bro." Like, stop it already. You guys see, it's not a dead horse, but it's just a non-factor because no one's paying up, man.
Mhm.
Wolf tickets, is that what they call those? Like, can we stop already with the bullshit?
No, so that was it. I thought you were going to throw in a few more in there. No, no, I agree. I mean that seems a little, a little. I mean, I guess that would be the best way. Very, very high schoolish. When you guys are talking about something, it's like, all right, how much you want to bet? How much you want to bet? You hand out your hand, like, hurry up and shake on it. Like, all right, yo. And I mean, I don't even know who does actually fucking pay up for any of these things, but that does. Yeah, you know what? And who was it? I think it was Ortiz who shot it down. He's like, no, I ain't trying to take her money. Like, no, like, what is this? Like, forget these bets. You know what I'm saying? Let's do this. Let's do the talking in the ring, and we can talk about it there.
Especially the human side of you comes out after the fight. For the guy that has the victory, he just pummeled the other dude. The family's crying, the kids are crying.
Right.
Like, bro, keep your fucking money. Like, come on, just shake it out. We're done. The fight.
Right.
Like, stop it with the betting before. It's corny. It's corny, and it's not real. You know what I mean? Like, how about I'm gonna whoop your ass. I'm gonna whoop your ass. I'll see you on fucking that day, right? Just keep it to that. Right? You've been scared of me for hella long. Oh, all right, fool. I'll see you on that day then. Boom, we're done. We sold.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of that in the pre-fight, press tour that they're going to have most likely, right? That's going to be highly anticipated because we're gonna get to see it. I don't really these when I hear what's his name Boots talk sometimes, I just like it seems as though he's not the best guy to be talking shit. He seems to have a problem spitting out the fucking words or something like that, and I don't know. He kind of gets maybe a little bit entangled with what he's trying to say, and he's not the best shit talker, right? So it's just like, yeah. Maybe at that moment, and when they were in the ring, and maybe their emotions were getting the better of them. Then it's like, all right, let's bet it then, fool. Let's fucking bet. They were trying to get the better of one another in the ring, and it didn't turn out that way with Boots. But definitely something I am absolutely looking forward to. Now, as far as I know, that fight last night with Ortiz was for the interim WBC, super welterweight title, right? So it's an interim belt, as far as I understand it. Boots has no championships, right? I don't think did he get an interim belt, or did he get something when he moved up to 154? I didn't think he did. Maybe he didn't. But I guess the thing is, this fight doesn't really need belts, right? Like, this is kind of what is more important is the guys fighting one another. Usually the belts show who are the better fighters of the weight classes, and whenever they fight one another, you get a final answer. But we kind of already know that these guys are the real deal, and these guys are going to be going at after one another in early 2026. So the belt's not really too needed here, huh? I guess there really is no need for one of them trying to capture some hardware before we get to this fight.
Yeah, no, it's not needed. And I think a guy we're forgetting about that I believe was top 10 also is Boachuk.
Oh yeah, that was a little bit more highly debated though because he got dropped, right? I mean, granted that they weren't like that great knockdowns, but Ortiz got dropped for whatever the fuck reason, and then one wasn't counted a knockdown or something like that. That one was not that great of a performance by Ortiz. He did what he did at the very end, and he pulled it out at the end. That part was awesome. But the rest of that fight, it's like, oh shit, maybe he met his match here. But yes, at the end, he got himself a victory, so that matters.
Let's give them credit for keeping it at least what you're describing. 113, 113, 114, 112. Very close fight, right? But the point is, that's 3 top 10s in a row.
Oh yeah, I can.
Boots better, remember we were calling him an industry plant not too long ago. He's fighting someone hot and someone who's been beating guys in the top 10. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting fight when it does take place. My money right now is on Ortiz. As we speak right now, my favorite is definitely Ortiz though, because of this. What an impressive last 3 fights De La Hoya has gotten him this guy in. Because really, this is growth here. These are like opponents that get better. I don't know if Lubin beats Madrimov, but it's still it's top 10. I like it. I like this here. This wasn't gifted. You understand? Yeah. Ennis might be a little bit more of a gifted.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that because at the end of the fight, I think it was Chris Mannix outside of the ring that was interviewing both Eddie Hearn and Boots. And Boots, in that little brief interview, said, "Yeah, man, I think my fight with Stanionis was a lot harder than any of his fucking previous fights." I was like, "Well, hold on, let me think about that," because he straight out said it. I was like, "Well, okay, look, it was a great performance. You unified belts. I'm not going to say you didn't, and he was considered, the Ring Magazine champ after that one. But I don't think that's true. I mean, especially the fact that you're pointing out these things that the last 3 opponents were top 10 dudes. I'm not entirely sure if that one Stanionis fight, I'm not going to say that Boots hasn't had tough fights prior to that, because I'm sure he has, and we've seen a few of them. He had to have a rematch with that one dude whose name is escaping me right now because of how close their first fight was. But I don't know. We're just going to be setting up quite a Q1 here going into 2026. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, the great job by referee James Green jumping in right when Lubin was kind of like, stunned a little bit, right? Did I lose you or am I still here?
No, you're back.
Okay,
you're back.
Cool.
It did go blank, and I was just like, please come back. So I know it recorded, so you're good.
Okay, cool. But just to run down in case you guys didn't catch it, I wanted to, I guess, clap to James Green because of the good job that he was doing, the referee, stepping in when Lubin was up against the ropes, and it was clear that Lubin was out on his feet, right? He was just kind of like there, and he jumped in before. And I wanted to bring that up because I know I clown the Texas Athletic Commission quite a bit for some of the shit that they've done over the years in professional boxing, not the least of which occurred in a previous fight on the same card, where there was, I don't know, referee Lawrence Cole just kind of, man, he has quite the reputation for making some fucking calls. During a fight on the undercard, I don't remember if it was a co-main event, but a fighter's mouthpiece, healls. He's like, hurry up, tries to, picks it up, gives it to the corner, and before the corner, and granted, the corner is probably trying to buy some time for his fighter, right? So they're kind of taking their sweet ass time, rinsing it out or whatever. And Cole's like, come on, let's do this. Before he even says that, he says, fight. And the boxer has his back turned while he's barely getting in, and then here comes his opponent to start throwing punches, and now he almost looked like he hesitated for a second, but he's like, oh shit, do I throw? He hasn't turned around yet, what kind of thing, but he starts throwing whatever, right, and catches him. So yeah, when I see stuff like that, and damn it, Texas, I don't know what is it about them, man. Sometimes they have these fucking calls, and going back to one of the Sports Illustrated covers, Chavez and Whitaker, right, that says like robbery, that right, even Chavez Jr. getting away with not taking a post-fight urine test after the fight, just stuff like that happens so damn regular. It's like, god damn it, Texas, fuck. And then we see that happen. So it just keeps adding up of how bad their athletic commission is. So I thought, you know what, let me go ahead and give props to James Green for stepping in there to not get Lubin any more traumatizing shots that's going to possibly end his career. I mean, it probably is over anyway, but I wanted to throw that in there before we move on to the next subject. But Andrew, anything else you want to throw in there before we move on?
Yes. The only thing I didn't like about last night was Ortiz's future. When they asked him straight up, who do you want next? Why are we adding more names? Why all of a sudden is it, oh, I'll fight anyone. You know, if it's Ennis, that's cool. No. It's Ennis, dude.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we want. But who do we get? I'll fight Crawford, which we know is not going to happen. So you can scratch that. And then here comes that name that no one wants to hear. There's always a name attached to these guys. They go, huh? Spence? Who the fuck wants to see Spence? Who told you they want to see Spence, dude? Either he needs to forget about that fight because he's always had it locked in that him and Spence are going to do a sold out Texas stadium, or that's the guy they truly are going after. Because we know Boots asked for 2 warm-up fights, right?
Right.
So if Boots can stretch this thing out and get his other warm-up fight, I definitely see everyone involved going with it. And I shouldn't just blame it on Ennis. Everybody involved wants to get one more fight out of this thing, right? So maybe they even do a double bill. Don't have to do it in the same venue, but do it at the same night, have them both on DAZN or whatever, and sell the fight that way, right? That'll be their last thing. I still don't want to see Spence. It'll be such a shame if they try to sneak a Spence, because it's a money grab, right?
Right.
Both Al Heyman and Oscar went to dinner and said, or they made a phone call and said, are we really going to let this 40,000 seat venue pass us up? We'll get 40,000 in Dallas Stadium. They won't get 60, but they'll get close to 40 for those 2 guys. And they're going to go for a money grab. Now, I do like that Spence, his eye looked better. And I don't mean that in a joking manner. Spence, in his interview last night, he looked focused with both eyes. If you remember, Spence always kind of looked drunk. He always looked like his eye was definitely had a lazy eye. Well, with not fighting and a lot of training, it's possible he got the eye stronger. Now, does that make his vision better? I don't know. But I did like that last night, that he looked a lot cleaner, more focused. Maybe he did get out. Maybe alcohol was playing to his eye looking all droopy. You missed it. I missed it, Miguel. Yeah, what's up? I'm just kidding. But maybe that was it. You understand?
Yeah.
And last night he looked a lot better. So maybe his eye's stronger. I would love to see him come back before he takes on someone like Ortiz, though. I know on paper the fight sounds big and bad, but in reality it's way past due. And I didn't like that Ortiz threw his name in there. It almost makes me feel like we might get that fight before Boots.
Well, last I heard, and I literally saw last night, that Spence announced his retirement. So,
we said that last week, huh?
Yeah, well, I saw it recently. So, I mean, I don't think we're gonna get that now. I have heard, and I'm trying to pull up that Instagram post because it's like a dude who's either I think it's Vergil's manager or someone in his camp. I forget who the fuck it is because I follow him on Instagram, saying the same thing. Like, we can't pass up an opportunity to fill out fucking, Arlington State or whatever the hell. It's like, no, nobody wants to see this. Nobody wants to, right now is the time for this fight because of how, let's say for the sake of argument, we do get one more fight between these guys, right? We're looking at the first half of 2026, maybe the second half, for this tune-up fight before their major showdown at the end of maybe the second half of 2026. Let be 29 at that point. No, this is the perfect time. I think we've let this marinate quite a bit already. Now is the time to pull the trigger on this because you have to strike where the iron's hot. Right now is things are starting to build up some serious smoke, and we need to get this fight off right now. So forget Spence. I mean, Spence himself, he's already saying he's retired, right? So there's no point in even going in that direction. Let's not try to milk this anymore. I get what they're trying to do and build it up even further, but it just seems like it's a waste of time at this point because I don't. There's nothing that's going to be building up the fight more really than what it already is. That this would just be a kind of a cash grab. We want that one last major payday in wherever, Dallas or whatever, right? To try to get that fight going with Spence. But no, it's not necessary. Spence is a shell of himself, right? How long his last fight was Crawford, right? So that was July of 2023. No, man, we're over 2 years away out of the ring, and he's 30, what, 8 now or 36 or something. I forgot because they were both in their 30s or mid 30s, Crawford and Spence back then. So maybe he's 36 or so right now. I'm not entirely sure. Spence.
So then blame Ortiz though, because he's the one calling him out.
Well, I mean,
right?
I think, but the question being asked to him, right? Like who else? Because it's like, well, what the fuck you mean who else? I mean, I guess maybe blaming him to some degree
Say
to even bring
Honduras.
him up. Yeah,
Say
I guess so.
Honduras.
Yeah.
Say Xanis. Say someone that's real. I forgot that he totally announced his retirement. That even makes it worse that you're calling. He's no
Right.
Manny Pacquiao, bro. You're not calling out Floyd Mayweather there. Like, stop it. Yeah. I forgot all about the retirement part.
Yeah, and that, so I was like, well, that's not going to happen. So scratch that name off the list because number one, we don't want to see it, but number two, he's not even available. I mean, maybe he will come back for like a big payday like that, but
for that fight,
for that fight in particular, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so. Going back to the video that my compadre Andrew wanted to or put down on Wednesday, posted on Wednesday afternoonish, I think it was, or maybe if it was a little bit Thursday early morning, in regards to what was going on. Now, for those of you who haven't already heard, I'm sure you already heard, there's this humongous scandal going on with FBI investigation into the UFC and possibly up to 100 fights that have been fixed. I was watching the video that you posted, Andrew. You talked about several things. One thing I did mention that I do remember you mentioning that I wanted to bring up, you had talked about the integrity of the sport and how it's changed, right? It was different from the early days. I don't know if you recall, but there were some fights being fixed back in the early days too. Like there was a few and some major ones, and I think when I think about the integrity of the sport back then and how it is now, I do think there was more integrity back then, but not that much more because it wasn't regulated as it was now. So it almost left the doors wide open for more fight fixing. I can think of 3 or 4 examples right off the top of my head of fights that were fixed. So it seemed like it was almost easier to fix back then because of less regulation as opposed to now. But they're gonna think of new ways of figuring it out one way or another, right? So as Dave Chappelle says, like modern problems requires modern solutions. So when there's regulation on some of these fights, they're gonna figure out a way to get under there somehow or another. There's even been, if you remember, a scandal with the IBF back in the day, like in the early 2000s, I would think it was, with promoters bribing officials at the IBF to rank their fighters here or rank their fighters there to get them title shots, etc. And that was a fucking shit show. Holy hell, that was a shit show. So some people were clear, like Bob Arum, he was clear to everything, right? But this is part of the fight game, and unfortunately, this is the UFC's turn to take it in the ass with the stuff that's going on, in particular mixed martial arts.
I won't even compare those two, though. That's a bad comparison. Rankings of a fighter and guys taking dives are not in the same ballpark.
Well, because it's evolved. Like it used to be guys taking a dive, but then things became so obvious, so they had to go behind the scenes and fix it there, to where, because it became, people throwing a fight became a thing of the past as far as fixing fights go because of how obvious it is. So now they have to get sneakier to do it, and that's why they went behind and started going to like the rankings and the promoters and the sanctioning bodies. So it was at one time like obvious when they're in the ring, but they don't want to make it as obvious, so they have to go behind the scenes.
Like, once again, there's fighters that were profiting off of taking dives. Is not the same as a fighter getting a ranking and getting a title shot. Now, he's going to lose the fight, but there's never been, well, that fighter then had his friend walk into a casino and put 10 grand that he was going to lose in round 3 and made 40 grand off of that bet. Because we all know these prop bets on the rounds is where these guys are making their money. When they're telling their guy, take 10 grand and put it on me to lose in round fucking 2, and that round has 12 to 1 odds, 20 to 1 odds, that's where they're making their money, dude. So if boxing got caught, believe me, and it would have. But I don't think prop bets were really big back in 1980. Remember, I also think the mob had something to do with it, and the boxers stood in line back then. I'm sorry, it wasn't the fighters. Let's say it this way: it wasn't the fighters fixing; it was the mob fixing. And you did what the mob said, right? That's a better way of saying that they're both had their days of shit. Sonny Liston, right?
Right.
But the UFC, they have a way bigger problem. Never before. Look, we've had people rated. Donald Trump. See how I pulled Trump in it? What a hater.
You're like subconsciously thinking like, I'm going to have to throw this motherfucker under the bus at some point during the show.
No, Don King, the same guy.
Yeah, close enough, right? Same shitty hair. Right?
Yeah. Don King got pulled into court. They opened up his books with the Tyson thing. That's what pulled Chavez in. And while we've seen a lot of screwing going on, Chavez getting paid $25,000 per non-title fight, being one of the biggest fucking rape jobs you will ever see in professional sports. Miguel, can you imagine every non-title fight he was only paying that man $25,000? That's fucking insane, bro. Those fights were on ESPN. Those fights were on, HBO. Those fights were on pay-per-view. Those fights were on Showtime. Don's making $2 million right off the top, and that's cheap. That's a cheap night he was getting for Chavez, giving that man $25K. Come on, we heard of those jobs, but at least there wasn't like, yeah, and Your Honor, we have 100 times, or he was paying the guys that just fall in round 3, and then this guy was over at the Atlantis putting down a $50,000 bet on round 3. At least we didn't have that story. Okay. Way bigger. And I'm telling you, you sent me the video. The feds have been watching a lot longer than Saturday night with Dana White tried to, I made a phone call. Bullshit. That was, come on, man. He didn't call nobody. They were already watching. And these guys got greed. Bro, could you imagine? It's like those movies. You know the movies where you see the drug guys, dealers, and they're getting away with everyone. They're murdering people. And they're all informants. They're all being watched. And the feds are like, hey, just let them do it. And we're racking up charges. That's all that happened here. And these dudes got greedier and greedier. Man, we got away with it again. How much you make? Yeah, I made this much. Dude, next time, put 50 grand on it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Right? And then 100 times were able to do this without anybody batting an eye. Oh man, they got greedy. Miguel, it turns out the last bet had $16 million on it. Now, I don't know how much of that bet was the fixed bet, the bet where the young man's, but they're saying the handle. We're talking about a fucking undercard to a main event, like 3 fights away. Is got 16 million on the line. Wow.
And I haven't actually checked like what I didn't even realize or know that prop bets were available for like undercard fights like that. Like I figured it was just the main event, right? Because essentially, and there are times because I go to the what used to be the Hilton is now called the Westgate here, and they often have the whole fight card. Usually when I go to major casinos like the MGM, sometimes they don't have the whole fight card. Hell, they'll even have like back in the day, at least they had Bellator fucking fights on there. I was like, oh shit, these guys actually put like these guys are the real deal. I like coming to the Westgate because it's pretty badass, by the way. But anyway, on top of that, like they have all the fights there and the whole fight card. I didn't know they had fucking prop bets because that's kind of why I wanted to touch up on it and ask you because. Like for those, I put money on fights. I'm not gonna say I don't, but I'm not a fucking expert by any stretch of the imagination. And really, I don't even put money on anything else because I don't really know much about any other sport, quite frankly, to even wager any money on it. But when it comes to fights in particular, when I go and I'm like, all right, cool, this guy's a favorite. This guy's I don't do parlays. I just do one. Boom. That's all it is. I don't really go into deep. But like for our viewers who aren't as I guess as educated as gamblers as we are, me that I live in Las Vegas. Walk us through this, Andrew. So this is pretty much what happened for those of you who haven't figured it out already. There was a fight on the undercard, right? And there was a line, right? The money line, the odds. It changed quite a fucking bit, how much money came in on a particular outcome, and then that outcome turned out to be true. So that is what raised eyebrows prior to the fight, mind you. According to this, prior to the fight is what got things fishy. Dana White comes out and says, okay, I called the kid up and I asked him these kinds of questions, like to make sure there ain't no fishy shit. He's trying to clean his hands of this, right? And then the outcome is what the bet turned out to. And some casinos did pull that from their odds, right? If I understand that correctly. So
because they were in cahoots with the feds already, bro. This was the final domino to this investigation, and so they wanted to get the bet, and then they were going to pool it. The casinos already knew they were going to pool. They were in. I believe they were in. We won't know until the final thing. Everyone's in court, and we're hearing how this thing all played out. But so far, I've been pretty spot on what I've been thinking of how this thing played out. So I am going to go even further and say somebody either had that phone tapped when Dana White called that young man and his lawyer. That's something I forgot last Thursday. The lawyer was called too. Just insane, right? To ask him 3 questions. Are you fucking taking a dive? Are you hurt? Or do you owe anyone money? And the kid said no. That's it. Boom. Their case is done with him. He's locked. So, look, the first story was Dana White got a call from a casino. I forget what casino it was, but that was the first story that I heard, was that a casino called and said, hey, man, a large bet just came in for this underdog to win in a first-round TKO. Do you know of anything that's fishy about this fight? Or is the kid hurt? I think they want to know if he's hurt because maybe, someone found out he had a hurt leg, rib, whatever. So that's when Dana said he called that kid. Now, Dana's story is the betting partner that the UFC has monitoring for this, for this type of stuff, called him and said, hey, this happened. So I don't know which one is the actual, if it was a casino sports book that took, because I believe the casino sports book was actually in Las Vegas that took this bet. And that's what started this whole domino effect. But once again, I don't know if Dana knew his phone was tapped, or if he was wearing or if he didn't know it was tapped, because he can't wear a wire. A wire is if he was live. Right. Tapped is basically, when you're on the phone. So I don't know if he knew he was tapped or not. Because it was so long, with 4 years, they're saying this investigation might have went on. I gotta think the UFC was in somewhat new about it. Or was that why Patel and them were trying to get close to Dana? Is that why they were being friendly with him? You know what I mean? To see how much he knew, or how deep did this go? The rabbit hole go? Is that what they say?
Yeah, because I read, or at least when I first saw anything to do with the FBI and the UFC, like some months ago, was, oh yeah, they're going to train some of our FBI guys, some jiu-jitsu stuff, and right, it's like, oh, well, that's nice. Well, is that just a front? Is that just a front that the Trojan horse that they're going to use to get in and try to get as much information out of Dana White and whatever phone tapping that's going on, if there is any. I mean, I have to assume that Dana knew that phone either was aware of it or was part of it to some degree, because I mean, like you said, he asked the right questions, right? He's like, let me go ahead and ask the right questions to clean my hands out of this shit and make sure that it's all on the fighter.
People, let's get this thing straight here about how deep this hole is already and where it could possibly go. So far, we have 2 fighters, if not 3, that are under investigation by the feds. We have a ref that is under investigation by the feds.
Maybe 2, actually. Maybe 2.
And just breaking this morning, for the same reason that I questioned why Dana White brought out his fucking mafia picture, Joe Rogan comes out and admits that he's betted on the UFC for years. He had an 80% winning percentage on his gambling. And that when he finally decided that it might not be the best idea to gamble on the UFC, he then gave it to his friend and names his friend in the interview, puts his ass on blast. It might not be illegal, but I'm just saying his friend might have been walking around telling he's a genius. Well, now we know he's not a genius, right? Hey, who's that guy in the Ninja Turtles? Remember when the Ninja Turtles beat up everyone and they keep giving the it's not April O'Neil, it's the other fucking reporter. The other guy gets all the credit.
Oh, damn, I don't know.
I would have to call my kids. I'm a dad, but I don't remember that shit. But that's who this guy was, right? Aubrey. I think his name's Aubrey.
I have the story right here if you want me to read the quote here.
Yes.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. So this is from let's see here. What is it? Let's see here. On the Ropes Combat is the Instagram account. Joe Rogan admits he used to bet on UFC fights and claims his picks were right over 80% of the time. Eventually, he stopped gambling himself and started giving fight tips to his friend Aubrey instead. That's like the first name. So this is a quote. So I used to gamble in the UFC when I first started working for them. And then I was like, I don't think I should do this anymore. Oh, he grew conscious. This is a long, long time ago, though. Oh, yes, because we're going to forget about it, Joe, because it was such a long time ago, right? The statute of limitation, apparently. So then the quote goes on. So what I started doing is giving my friend Aubrey. I started giving him tips, and he was like 84% right. So that's the end of the quote. So, I mean, was this who Aubrey guy then not just putting money himself but also selling the picks also, because there are such a thing as handicappers, right? These guys are the ones that sell packages to people that are basically picks. They're fight picks or game picks or whatever the case may be. They have different packages of how many per day or et cetera, et cetera. So, in addition to putting money himself, this Aubrey guy, maybe he was selling picks too, saying, hey, I got the pick, $10 or whatever the fuck it is, right? Handicappers do that shit all the time. So, yes, but he left this the last name out, maybe accidentally or maybe on purpose, but we got to find out who this Audrey person is at some point. He has to come through and come forward and say, hey, dude, give me picks for next weekend. No, but yeah, that is he left the last name out, so I don't know what the last name is, but apparently, yeah, this is Aubrey, last name yet to be mentioned, who was a friend of. I wonder. I'm gonna try to Google who the fuck this guy could potentially. Because here's the thing, Joe Rogan is a comedian, right? On top of everything else that he does, so maybe it's some sort of comedy friend that's in the circle or something like that. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, that was the quote.
An 84% winning ratio in one given night is pretty big. That's pretty big money. There's a reason why Joe Rogan said I probably shouldn't be doing this.
Yep. And
he's missing.
Funny with it, huh?
He's missing what, 2.5 out of 10? Miguel?
Oh, is that what it is? I don't know.
Yeah. It's something, dude. He ain't missing a lot on a fight night at 84% right.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing, if we're talking about it, and it could be he did mention it was a long time ago, but usually when you put money on a fight, it's usually just the fight. Yeah, some people do parlays and they'll put many fights on one ticket, but I mean, hell, if they put whoever these picks are, he's not going to have inside information on all the fights. He might have on maybe 2 or 3 on the card or something like that, right? So maybe that's all he had. If 2 or 3 fights, he has inside information to some degree on how many cards that was. We're just basing it off of one whole fight card, but I'm sure he doesn't know everything on every fucking fight card. Maybe he has a few fights from that fight card. So what I'm saying is that a much longer period of time is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no doubt. 8.5 fights into 12 is only 70%. So he was even doing better on those nights.
Yeah. Oh yeah. More than 3/4, because 75% would be 3/4, right?
Yeah. So the guy was racking it in. That's why he got a conscience. It was like, I probably shouldn't do this. But the problem is he's still got a tie because he gives it to a friend who his friend even gets a better winning percentage than he had. Now, what's gonna look legal, illegal? I have no idea. He's a commentator. I have no idea. I used to think Merch and them bet all the time. You could just tell by the way they would commentate a fight. Whenever they would go for the underdog when he really wasn't doing shit, I used to think they bet on the underdog. They would just have these nights where they had like a hard on for the guy losing. It's like, dude, he's not even. What's going on right now? It's like this fucking guy bet on him. Now we never had to prove that they did, but that's how I felt. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's illegal or illegal for Rogan to be betting on this. What I do know is illegal is the timing of these bets. I mean, he's going to lose his credibility in the MMA world. He's going to lose his job with the UFC. If the feds go, we know for a fact he was talking to guys after the weigh-ins, the morning of the fight. He's finding out who's sick, who didn't fucking eat the night before, what guy was throwing up all day, what guy, you know, is overweight and didn't train. If he's finding all these things out moments before the fight and then calling the guy and going, all right, drop 20 grand on this guy's barely walking. I'm watching him. Yeah, not walking good. Then he's fucked. Don't know if it's illegal where they're going to press charges, but as far as credibility, as far as your job in the UFC, he's going to be Pete Rose, right? That's what happened to Pete Rose, right? You're betting on our sport. You're getting inside information. I give Miguel an example. I give it to you guys many times. The day that Oscar De La Hoya fought Manny Pacquiao, the IV story hit the fucking media room before it hit the pay-per-view telecast. It just did. Freddie Roach or someone had walked in and goes, hey, man, that dude's not eating. He has IV arms. Freddie called it out. Everyone ran with it in the media room as, like a rumor. Some called people.
Yeah. Some people got phone calls that day.
That motherfucker didn't eat last night. It ain't going past 8, or I think they gave 8.5 or something that day. Get the fuck out of here. So yeah. that's where he's gonna get hit with the you overstepped your boundary, right? That's insider information when you're doing it a half an hour before the fights take off.
Yeah, which is pretty much what happened here. I think there was an hour before the fight of the fight in question now, right? The one from a few cards ago. I think like an hour or so is when things really got popping, and that's where the phone calls were made to Dana White, and then Dana White made the call and everything like that. So pretty nuts to hear that. I didn't think about that until you mentioned it. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure somebody was listening on those phone conversations, specifically the call of Dana to the guy. But yeah, that's as time goes on, we're going to get more and more information on what's going on. And it's such a black eye on the sport. And look, we know, again, we've talked about it, the sport and combat sports in general, it's not like it doesn't happen in boxing. It's just UFC's turn to take it in the ass this time. It's happened. It's part of the fucking sport, really. And after a while, it will die down. I don't know what repercussions are going to come. This is pretty major. We talked about it before, even with Dana White and him striking his wife at that nightclub, right? I mean, there weren't really repercussions there. So you ask yourself, like, what the fuck is going to happen? This is kind of bigger than that. This is huge. If there's anything bigger than that, it's going to be this. So you have to assume that there's going to be some scapegoats. There are going to be some people that are going to take it in the ass, and there are going to be some ones who are going to be let go or released or whatever. Is it going to be Dana White and the UFC, specifically from Turkey and the boys, TKO, saying, oh, shit, this is bigger than us over here. Let's go ahead and start backing away from this. Because, you brought up, even my pops thought that before. I had watched part of the show that you posted on Wednesday or Thursday, Andrew, and we were talking about it because we were in Tijuana. We have, Dish Latino, and we were at our Tijuana house, and there was a show called ESPN Knockout. It's like on the ESPN Deportes channel. I mean, they're talking about that. They were talking about fights coming up, yada yada yada. Right? They were previewing.
I thought you were going to say my show was out and out there.
All right.
No, just kidding.
Yeah, I put that shit on the fucking big screen so everybody at the house can watch it. No, but they're talking about that, and my dad was like, "Oh shit, you listen to that? Oh yeah, that happened earlier this week, yada yada yada." So we're briefly talking about that, right? And he's like, the fucking those Arabs, they're not gonna like that shit, right? He said in Spanish, those Arabs are not gonna like that shit. They're gonna start, like, oh, let's go ahead and start backing away from this dude. And this is like no more than an hour after I had to watch part of the show that you're talking about, that you posted on our channel. So yeah, maybe they're the ones that are gonna be like asked out. They're the ones going to get sent to the chopping block to separate. I don't know to what degree TKO is going to be involved in this or Turkey, but I'm expecting hopefully somebody asks that question to Turkey or somebody at TKO, some media member that can step in and say like, hey, what are there going to be repercussions to this? Like, what's the point? Where are we at with this right now?
I want to say right now today that I think Turkey's silence on this matter speaks for itself. I don't think it looks good for Dana White right now in the eyes of Turkey's company. If they were back this man, why wouldn't they have come out and said, we give our 100% support to Dana White being the leader of TKO or whatever? A whole week has went by. It's almost like they're playing we're just going to step back and see how this thing plays out, right? Because they really don't know. I've talked about the character issues before with Dana White. At some point, we even have to talk about the moral compass of Dana White because he's working with the Saudis. Gambling, smoking, drinking. Look, I just seen Mundavi get elected mayor of New York, so I know a lot about the Muslim religion right now, right? They don't like tobacco, gambling, and liquor. Hello?
Yeah.
He does all three. He's bringing all three. Now you're talking about he might even have a whole corrupt system of gamblers around him. We know the commentator gambles. Sorry, Joe. You did it to yourself.
Yeah. And we know his buddy gambles.
We know his buddy gambles.
Yeah. Aubrey, how much are your packages?
Aubrey, yeah, and we know that there's some refs that might be involved. Like, it starts from the top and works its way down, right? And we're going to find out if Dana has any friends like Aubrey out there. Be kind of scary if he does for Dana. But, yeah, at some point, Turkey needs to look at it all. And really, the success of the UFC. Look, we know the UFC has these major signing deals. We get it. They haven't repeated one of those deals with one of the companies that signed them. I don't know why. I'm just saying it might be a red flag when you don't get re-signed to anybody. We know for a fact that their pay-per-views have dropped. This is not me talking shit. This is facts, right? They're not racking in the same pay-per-view numbers that they once did. You see it amongst the fans. The fans seem like there's more shit talking on their chat rooms than there is like hyping up for the fight that just take place. Now, sometimes going in, they're all about it. Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Then when the fight takes place, for whatever reason, they always seem like it's a disgruntled bunch of UFC fans on these chat rooms. So when Dana started the UFC, when he took it over, I don't care what era you're talking about, 90s, 2000, whatever, he's playing with the best in the business. He's not doing that with TKO. You're asking Dana White to do something he really hasn't done. And that's take a bunch of bottom feeder B guys. Look, you want an example? He didn't even get the best of the Vargas boys. Hello? He didn't rock with Emiliano out there. He had
Vargas Jr.
Jr.
Yeah, Fernando Jr.
Yeah. So take that as the example of who he's going to get even in the boxing world. And no shot to Fernando Jr. It's really not. It's just facts. So if I'm Turkey, I'm looking at how easy it was for a lot of these fighters to flip. Jeez. The matter of like 48 hours on how many MMA guys were like, oh, yeah, I did start texting that Ari guy during his show. Are you fucking kidding me? It was insane, bro. And you're telling, I mean, those are just the guys willing to come out. What about the guys that got away with it and now sit in homes and have cars and actually had a future because they got away with fixing their fights? You think they're really coming out? Oh, yeah, audit me. Audit me on how I got my house for my kids, please.
Yeah, like you see that brand new Tundra out there on my fucking front lawn? Yeah, that's what I got that. So if I gotta return it, so be it, you know.
Hey, why in 2022 you seem to have bought everything cash?
Right. It's like, why do we have that safe in the closet with much more cash? What is that about?
You got more cash in your closet than you do your account or your savings. The fuck is going on here? Yeah, no doubt, bro. They're not coming out.
No.
You know, but If you had this many guys come out in this matter of time, and they were watching for 4, and they have 100 fights, how many fights went on before the feds got involved and before someone flagged them and said, hey, there's something going on in the UFC. This ain't even, this is regular. Look, one guy says it's a high rolling gambler is the guy that was fixing his fights. He didn't even name, he just said it could be a poker guy. He could have won a fucking no limit tournament at a casino and go, hey, I got 50 grand. I'll put 50 grand on you to either win or lose. I don't know how they're fixing it on round 3, and we'll split it. All right, fuck it. Let's do it. Was it that easy? Is that what we're talking about here? Because that's not the Japanese mafia. That's not the Italian mob. You know, at least there you have a little bit of, wow, maybe they were threatening the family. You know, the guy getting involved could always say that. Oh, they risked our lives. Oh, well, you know, give them a lighter sentence, whatever. But when it's the fucking just some high roller that you two had a drink over and came up with this idea, that's not good for the sport. That's not good for the sport. Look, I wanted to ask you, Miguel, because I weigh a lot on the 16 million on the undercard. Mm-hmm. Without it being that main card where Ryan Garcia, Haney, and Lopez fought all 3 back-to-back, can we think of any boxing card that ever brought in 16 million, 3 fights under the main one? Wait, Christy Martin brought in 50 million? Butterbean? What the, like, bro, that's so much money. Because you got to think that as the fights got better, the money got bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, naturally.
I can't think of a boxing. I don't even know if boxers ever had that opportunity to be like, oh, yeah, I'm in the 4th fight from the main event. I'm going to throw it. I'm going to go down to the sports book and bet on the 3rd round. Like, I don't even think they have that for our sport. Like, that shows you how much gambling's being done, at least. Mm. The UFC is a newer sport, and I do think the prop bets need to go. I'm going to weigh heavy on it. It's the sports. It's the online gambling that got greedy and started putting bets for. Yeah, Miguel, I'm telling you, I don't know if you heard it. There is a pitcher who got flagged in major leagues because he was betting on himself. They have a prop bet for this guy. He's not even a starter. He's not a $20 million pitcher or anything. He's like off the bench, bro. And he had a prop bet on himself. The casinos did, the sports book. A ball or a strike first pitch. I guess they have that for the pitchers.
Oh, damn.
Dickhead was going up every first pitch and throwing it into the dirt. They have him 3 times, bro, throwing it right into the ground. Nowhere even close to the fucking plate. So the ump couldn't even, like, get it wrong. You know what I mean? It's a ball every time. You got to get rid of that bet. This guy's a nobody. Dude, there's one story where they flagged an NBA kid because he's the only dickhead that betted on himself, Miguel. We got to get rid of that bet. If there's a guy getting a line where nobody in the public gives a fuck about, can we please pull that guy off of the line? This sports books. You guys got greedy and it bit you in the ass too. You allowed some of these low guys to find a way to make a fucking extra living, man. You know, it's like the thing that got hit the other day. I guess Dana just demoted a fighter for your guy, the pay-per-view card that's going to happen here soon. Some guy got demoted from the main card to the prelims, and he says he's all mad and how he never would fight in a prelim fight. Dana, that's the guy that's going to flip.
Yeah.
You've demoted him in public, right? Right before a main card. So you're basically telling him he's 1 loss away from being fucking out of here. Maybe he wants to go down in the 3rd round at 7-1 odds.
Yikes.
I'm just hey, you guys. Floyd Mayweather fought McGregor. You think it's a fucking coincidence that he takes him out with the biggest odds on the book? Me and Lee broke that one, bro. When fucking Floyd, and were you with us with McGregor, Floyd?
No, 2017. Not yet.
All right, it's the biggest odds, Miguel. Go look them up. 18-1 is the round that Floyd takes out McGregor. You
10?
think
Round 10? Was it? Is that
yeah. You think that wasn't fucking planned by Floyd?
Damn. If this is not bad enough, Netflix has decided that they're going to have a gambling documentary on Dana White. Dana White is getting a gambling documentary on Netflix following his gambling life in Las Vegas. Really? Is it going to get everything? Is it going to get? I wonder if this phone call that he made to this fighter is part of that fucking documentary. Are we going to get that conversation? Like, oh shit, are we going to? Or is Netflix going to be like, whoa, hold on, maybe we shouldn't be putting this out right now? Because I don't know. I mean, as of right now, I don't think there's like a release date per se, but this is per a Hollywood Reporter. So, wow. If this isn't rewarding him for this kind of fucked up behavior, I don't know what is, for crying out loud. Hopefully, it doesn't get off the ground and nothing goes with it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems they can get away with everything at this point, or he can, I should say.
He hasn't gotten through this one, but yes, he has gotten by. Really, that wife slap on camera, that was pretty big that he got through. That's been a freaking dagger for so many people in the business world. You know, even the Giants, what was it, the GM or whatever, all he did was like push his wife over for a cell phone. I think she tried to take his phone. It was caught on camera over here in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. He even had to step down. I forget his name, but I remember even he got canned. Dana straight reached back. He still, nope, nothing. Yep. But this one is different. And like I said, this is more about TKO than I think the UFC, because Miguel, if the UFC was to part, and I seen what you sent me about Ronda Rousey saying the UFC would not exist without Dana. I don't know how much of that's true.
Yeah, it's pretty much saying when Dana's gone, the UFC is going to be in a bad spot. I guess that's what I've seen, at least.
Of course, yes. He was doing the slap thing. He was doing the TKO thing. There was already rumors kind of going around.
And for the record, the slap thing is a power slap, not the slap the wife thing. Not talking about that. It's the power slap. Okay.
Yes.
Just to
he owns the power slap. Yeah.
Okay.
So there was already rumors like, was he already distancing himself? Was he finding an exit or something else to go to when the UFC gave him that phone call? Like, dude, you had a great run, but it's time. So, it's really about what Turkey's going to do. Are you going to invest this new company and put him as the face when, if this was to be his exit, it's not the greatest exit, right? Ratings are at its lowest. There was talks about the company being in debt before the huge Prime signing. But you guys, I still got to throw a red flag on the Prime deal.
Paramount,
Paramount deal. They overpaid by so much, it almost seemed like a desperation by Paramount. Like someone was in there like, no, I swear to you, this is going to save us. And they were like, they were, fuck it, we'll go with it. But to give a company $7.5 billion when Netflix only offered like less than $2 billion, why such a gap? That was weird. So I don't know what's going to happen, what Paramount was thinking there, but it almost seemed like a desperation shot for them to try to compete with Netflix. Because if Netflix takes the UFC and they have boxing, you're telling me they would have had the UFC and Crawford versus Canelo announced at the same time? A lot of these other streaming apps can just go away, right? Your fucking movies, your movies are going to go away. These guys. So it was almost a desperation that they had to get the UFC. Not really was it the right decision? But this is like, at least you're still afloat. God, I hope the UFC really gets the views that they all say they do, and they're going to go with it. So this is really about Turkey, about TKO. If they want to move forward with Dana White, I do think Dana White's days in the UFC are numbered.
Yeah, and I think we kind of already knew that, because of how, I mean, even without this, we kind of figured, and for all we know, maybe that was kind of the deal all along, right? Like, we have all got to the point where we're like, okay, we're kind of tired of Dana at this point. He probably needs to fucking go. So I think even back then, and this was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, something like that, even more so probably, where most fans' sentiment was, all right, I think he did all he could. Now it's time for him to bounce. I guess this is really the exit. This is really going to be the exit, I should say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on to a recent announcement. Recent, I mean, this week, of a fight that Andrew, when I first saw this, first rumors of it, I was pretty excited. I brought it up on the show. You're like, nah, I don't think it should be going on. Well, it looks like it's gonna happen. Teofimo Lopez is going to be defending his lineal championship or WBO title against Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson will be moving up from 135 to 140 to take on Teofimo Lopez. The reason, if I recall correctly, that you weren't too crazy about it, it's like, no, there's plenty of stuff to do at 135 for Shakur. There's really no need for him to go up to 140 right now, at least. And I guess he said, the fuck with it. Let's just fucking do it. It would have been badass if both these guys were still with Top Rank right now, but they're not, unfortunately, or at least not Shakur. But yeah, it looks like we're going to get this fight in early 2026. I'm not sure. I think it was January is the last post that I saw online, January 20 something. I think the last week or weekend of January. And I want to say New York is going to be the leading candidates to host this fight here, considering that Shakur is from Newark, New Jersey. And I think Teofimo was from Philadelphia, right? I think he was born in Philly. Yeah, it looks like, and then that fight of New York is obviously very historical when it comes to boxing. So whether or not they're going to do it at Barclays or New York, what is it, Madison Square Garden, I'm not sure yet, because mind you, we're still the preliminary talks. But apparently, we're going to get two of the top guys in the neighboring weight classes. I guess 135/140. I get what you meant back then, Andrew. There's still a lot of stuff to do at 135 pounds, but we are now seeing what we saw Lamont Roach going to 140, right? He was at 135 with that fight with Tank, moved up to 140, and is going to be fighting Pitbull Cruz in December. So he's moving up from 135 to 140. Now Shakur is moving up from 135 to 140. So we might even get something like that down the line. We might get the winner of Cruz and hopefully, of course, fingers crossed, Cruz and Roach, and then the winner of Teofimo and Shakur. But there was plenty still to be done, can be done, I guess, at 135. Shakur didn't really need to move up, but obviously this is the direction he wants to go. I'm pleased because these guys are going to be fighting. These still two young American talented fighters. Even with Teofimo's one loss, it doesn't really matter much. These guys are pretty close undefeated, right? I know Shakur is actually, but this is something that's pretty big. You talked about it. I want to say you mentioned this before we actually started recording, but those are two major fights that be going on in early 2026. First off, now that you've seen the announcement, what were your first thoughts? Did you think, fuck, man, with this fight shouldn't be going on, or be like, all right, fuck it, if this is the direction we're gonna go, then let's roll with it?
It's the fight they should go now, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Since that conversation that we had about the lightweight division being hot, Gervonta Davis left boxing. Don't know if he's coming back. Keyshawn Davis and Shakur both announced they're moving up.
Mm-hmm.
That really only leaves us with Cepeda, Mason, Murtala, and Schofield. Schofield pulled out of another fight because of an injury. That's his second time. I know he's young, but I'm just saying, like, he's not reliable. Right now, he's got a tag on him that he's not reliable. It was time to move on from the lightweights is what I'm saying.
Mm.
They had their moment. They couldn't get done for what the timing just wasn't right. But with Keyshawn and Stevenson both moving to the junior welterweight division, it's one of the hottest divisions in boxing now. Hitchens, Keyshawn, Davis, Lopez,
Lamont Roach. Yeah.
Lamont Roach. Yeah. It's just hot, dude. So times changed. I forgot who Keyshawn. Who is he fighting? Hitchens? They just announced a fight. At least that it's being talked about. It's Keyshawn versus someone at 140. But it's an excellent fight. Now I'll talk about Lopez. Lopez being from Brooklyn too.
Mm.
Lopez from Brooklyn, New York. It's an excellent.
Well, I think that's where he claims he's from. But he's not. He was actually born in Philly, wasn't he? Wasn't actually born in Philly?
No, that's Danny Garcia's from Philly.
Oh, fuck. Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
I was getting confused then. All right, okay, my bad. So Teofimo Lopez is from Brooklyn?
Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
So excellent fight. Like I said last week, these two guys are in their prime. Look, Lopez is only 28. Shakur is barely hitting his prime. So it's a great matchup. Lopez being a lot further down the avenue as far as legacy-wise. Like, you add Stevenson to Lopez's resume, we're talking about one of the greats of this era at this point, right? He'll probably be leading this era as far as the who's standing out in front of the fighter to take this into the future. I don't know if there would be another one yeah, as young as Lopez with as good as a resume with him. With that, Lomachenko really set him off, beating Lomachenko as young as he did. I know that Josh Taylor isn't as significant because Taylor had moved up already or had lost the title. Whatever was going on in Taylor's life at that moment, it wasn't as significant as if the fight was a year or so before that. But still, he was the man at 140. He beats him. He beats Lomachenko, who's the man. We're not talking about guys who were arguing were number one. These dudes were legit number one. And then to take on Shakur, who's literally moving up as the man of that division again, not too many fighters that have done this 3 times. You know what I mean? We know guys that have won titles, but how many times is that? Yeah, but that guy really wasn't the man at that division. It's almost like that one guy that has like 8 WBC titles.
Right. Yeah. Who always displays them on his pool table? That guy. Yeah. that guy. Who remained unnamed, but yes, sort of like that. All right, that definitely makes my initial reaction to it was like, oh fuck yeah, that I mean, for all intents and purposes, what you're saying is like everybody else who I wanted him to fight at 135 is moving up, so fuck, might as well get that shit crack-a-lackin'. That would be, and here's the thing, like I know we kind of. Well, at least me, my criticism of Teofimo Lopez is pretty harsh sometimes because I'm like, dude, you shouldn't be taking these kind of fights. Like, no, don't be fighting this puto, don't be fighting, but somehow he ends up back in this position where like, oh, fuck, yeah, he just fucking beat Barbosa. Like, hey, that was legit, that was pretty. And then on top of even though his victory over Lomachenko was debated, but, the scorecards had him, whatever. Bottom line is, in the record books, he's got the decision. I think what you're referring to with Josh Taylor was his fight with Catterall prior to that. I don't remember if it was before or after, but one of those close fights, right, that he didn't look that great. But regardless, he came in without debate and he beat the dude who was the number one guy in that weight class. And now we have Shakur here, who's going to be, this one, man, I don't remember a fight. I mean, I'm sure there are some, but that can pop into my head right now that are so 50-50 in my mind. I'm like, fuck, I don't know who's going to win this one. Shit, like this, I really don't think so. And that's, the beauty of combat sports. When you get 2 guys who are so evenly matched, that you're like, damn, I don't think I know who's going to actually take this one. That definitely is going to be one of the hotter fights of 2026. There has been an announcement recently that there's going to be an addition to that fight card. Daniel Dubois taking on Jared Anderson. Let me go ahead and pull up this post up here on my screenshot. Boxing Reports. This Instagram or this Twitter account or X is called Boxing Ho. Okay. Daniel Dubois versus Jared Anderson is set for the undercard of Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson in February 2026. Okay, that one says February 2026. The heavyweight clash will put Britain's Dubois against American Anderson at a huge cross-Atlantic showdown, part of the Riyadh season and card in Saudi Arabia. Now, that's saying it's going to be Saudi Arabia. Now, mind you, this was some time ago. This was, I think, early November when, I know we're still in early November, but like earlier in November that this was announced. So I'm not sure where the source is or the information, I guess, because if we're talking about New York, well, I don't know. I don't remember if Dubois has ever fought in the U.S., but hey, if he's going to come over here and fight in the U.S., cool. I don't know the fight. According to this post here, it might even be in Saudi Arabia. So again, we're at very early talks of Teofimo and Shakur. So we don't know if it's going to be in New York or if it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. According to this, it looks like it might be in Saudi Arabia, but other reports are saying New York. So that has to be one of 2 things. Either Shakur and Teofimo are going over there, or Dubois and Anderson are coming over here. I mean, I know Anderson already lives here, but you got what I'm saying. That is a pretty solid card to add to this. It's a little it's unusual to see them. We don't get to see heavyweights on the undercard too frequently. And this particular post here mentioned just simply undercard, not necessarily co-main event or anything like that. But I'd be down for this to be a co-main event. This is a great supporting fight. It kind of gives Anderson an opportunity to show people that he's still interested in boxing. Have you seen his demeanor recently? The guy just seems like he's just going through the motions, unfortunately. And we're hoping that because that one loss to Bacoli was pretty harsh. We're hoping we can bounce back from that because our heavyweight division, and when I say our, I mean American heavyweight division is pretty weak, right? So we still need these guys here, and even with one loss, it's okay. He can come back, he can bounce back, and beating somebody like Dubois would do exactly that. Same thing for Dubois. His most recent loss, or second loss, I should say, to Usyk. All right, that he's going to fight. We know you mentioned it many times, Andrew, that the UK fans love beating the Americans. So it's like, yeah, let's go ahead and show these guys who we can whoop ass. I would love for this fight to be a co-main event. Again, this is just the early preliminary talk, so we don't know the circumstances or whether or not it's going to go down. But I'd be down to watch this. How about you?
Yeah, it's weird. It's like a crossroad and a prospect fight at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I got to give more respect to Dubois with the 2 fights he's already done with Usyk and what is it, Joshua?
Oh yeah. Knocking out AJ.
Yeah, he's really not a prospect anymore. This should be a tune-up fight for Dubois. Jared Allen, to me, never got out of the prospect mode, so I don't know how good Jared Anderson really is. He has a decent record, but that's against a bunch of scrubs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dubois, because he's already knocked out the ex-undisputed heavyweight champ and went 24 rounds with the current undisputed champ, I got to say Dubois is going to fucking annihilate Jared Anderson.
All right. So Jared already has, he never, like you said, he never got out of that prospect, I guess, room. He's in that room still, quite frankly. He hasn't got that breakout victory. Should he win this one, would that be that? Would that be, beating I don't know if Dubois is a belt holder or has had a belt at heavyweight, but somebody like that.
Yeah, didn't he have something like
that? Oh, is that what it was? I think you're right. You're right. Yeah.
I think he held one belt.
Yeah, so a former, belt holder at heavyweight, should Anderson win this fight, would that take him out of the prospect, room and be considered like a top dude, or would it matter how he beats Dubois if he does?
I think it would make Anderson back into the number one American prospect.
Still, yeah.
I mean, it'd definitely give him a step closer to a title shot, but yes, at least he would get the ranking back as it's possible this kid's the next big thing, right? With just one little hiccup that he had against Bulky. Usyk is Dubois' last defeat. So, yeah, and his last few fights, he has really proven himself. I mean, come on, Usyk, Miller, Horkovich, who is undefeated. Miller and Horkovich are both undefeated, and then Joshua and Usyk again. Some extremely good fights here for Dubois. He's a legit contender. I don't see Jared even near that, So bet heavy on the on Daniel Dubois to stop Jared Anderson.
Is that your pick? Is that your pick? You're going to be selling picks?
That's my Joe Rogan pick of the night, you guys.
Yeah.
And I won't change it before the fight. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Like, get Aubrey on the phone. Put some money on Dubois, please. I don't know.
Yeah. Aubrey needs to come to the show, dude.
Yeah.
It's going to be call Aubrey.
He's gonna be a reoccurring character here from here on out of Mad Boxing. This is Mad Boxing Aubrey. Aubrey is gonna be his name, sort of like Fight Net Bob or whatever the fuck it was. All right, well, I'm looking forward to that. There's some discrepancies with the dates, but we can pretty much look at early 2026. We can expect to have this one. This is if those 2 fight announcements, are we looking at a possible pay-per-view?
Oh, most definitely with the bullshit that DAZN is.
Yes, thank you for that segue.
Yes, man. Yes, sir.
Well, guys, I still remember the days, and I remember Steve Kim mentioning this. The Tracy Morgan commercials, the DAZN commercials saying no more pay-per-views, going back even to Canelo Alvarez and Daniel Jacobs in 2019, I think it was, the very funny commercial / ad by DAZN of the scene from Office Space where those guys are basically being a shot of the printer out in that open field, and Canelo's face being superimposed on one of these guys, and Michael Buffer was on one of these guys, and the Daniel Jacobs was one of the other guys, beating up on this printer, and then the printer has pay-per-view on it. and they're beating the shit out of the pay-per-view, right? It's like, oh, that's so funny, so clever. Well, here we are, 5 years, 6 years later, still following the pay-per-view model. I don't know what DAZN was thinking, but apparently there's going to be, moving forward, some sort of tier-based subscription, right? Which I think is the case usually, right? If you want, if you're paying for a subscription for something, you want it with or without ads, you can pay extra. This is not a very uncommon thing. However, goddamn, we're gonna have to fork up some major cash if we want to be catching all the DAZN cards on top of pay-per-views they said they weren't going to do. How much more? I don't know. How about $315 more than what we're already paying? According to what I'm showing here, if you want to go with this, more a higher tier subscription, we're talking up to $540 a year to be able to catch all the fights, in addition to the subscription, and still have access to pay-per-view cards, access to fights like Eubank Ben 2, Benavidez Yarde, Inoue, and Picasso, which is rapidly approaching. Wow. They're trying to basically, according to what I'm showing here, this is an Instagram account, World Boxing News, a sneaky way of trying to sneak in and repackage pay-per-views. Pretty much, they're trying to get clever with it. Still, one way or another, we're going to have to pay for these fights. Not on a subscription basis. This is addition, mind you. I don't know. This seems. It seems like it's like they're really taking advantage of us and our generosity. And by and large, when there's ever a fight that I really want to see, I'm okay with paying it. I really am. There are times where there's just two pay-per-view cards on the same night, and I'm like, okay, obviously I'm not going to be forking up the cash for both of them. I might, find a way to watch one and pay for the other, right? Pay for the one that I really want to watch and kind of find a way to watch another one some other way. I'm sure you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Wink, wink. So now we might have to go down that route entirely, because how the fuck are we going to go from no pay-per-views or, pay-per-view, the model is dead, just a monthly subscription, to having to fork up nearly $600 or $550 for something like this? It's definitely a slap in the face to fight fans. Andrew, I know you mentioned it many times. This apparently still is a rich man's sport to have to fork up this kind of fucking money to watch the fights that we really want to see. But it hurts the common man. We're going to have to figure out another way to watch these, huh?
Most definitely. Before I get into that, I brought my wife in.
Oh shit! Okay.
Because look at the 540. I'm rounding up here, 540, right? So I'm going to say what the subscription is if you want all the fights on DAZN. Obviously, I'm hoping they're breaking that into 12 payments throughout the year, which would make which would make it $45 a month. Okay. On our apps, I don't pay the bills. My wife does. That's why I need her here. On our apps, is there anything close to $45? And when I'm talking ESPN Plus, I'm talking Paramount, Netflix,
Hulu, any one of those.
Hulu. What is the highest that do we pay for these platforms?
For any one platform, yeah.
$24, dude.
And what's that one for?
It's a combination for Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN.
Oh, and you get more than one app on that.
Yeah. They're fucking insane. Thank you, babe. Love you. They are insane. You guys, $45, and all you're bringing me is boxing? I love boxing. I'm not really, keep me out of it. I'm not talking, you're not talking to me. I'm talking to the casuals. I'm talking to the guys that make these fights profitable. See, they don't know our audience. They don't know our business. Their investment isn't going to be long. I said it last week. I'm doubling it down again this week. What casual fan is going to go, you know what? I got $45. I got double the money that I pay for everything else on my TV for boxing. No way. It doesn't even seem like it's going to work. Almost like DAZN didn't work. Look, DAZN should have already been out of here. They really got a lifeline because of Turkey investing money into them. You know, these guys are about probably ready to close up shop already. That's what the rumor was before Turkey seen them losing and was like, hey, how about if I added some money and then you call it mine? $45 a month. The most we pay is $24, and that's for 3 platforms bundled together. Remember when I said he was stupid for going to DAZN? He should have went Netflix.
Wait.
Turkey.
Oh, gotcha.
Turkey.
Okay.
Because you can connect to the movies, dude. You can, yes, look, everyone, the fee's going up. You know how many boxing fans already have Netflix?
Yeah.
So now you're just adding some money to some shit we already have, and we're gonna get all the pay-per-views, and we're gonna get all the fights, and I'm gonna get all my Netflix shit. I'm in. What is it, 45, 65 bucks? I'm in. Chris is gonna be mad, but we're in. Because we get everything. Calm down, babe. It's everything. You know, that's what I'm gonna tell her.
Yeah. We get the rom-coms around the holidays. We get all that, babe. It's I promise.
Yes. I won't pay on anything else. I just need this per month. He messed up. You're going with a platform that only I don't go to the platform for fucking rugby, Turkey. I don't go there for soccer.
Competitive darts. I don't tune in for that. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh my, do they have a fucking problem at DAZN? Wow. I was almost in until she told me, no, Andrew, there's nothing close to $45. Now I'm just an asshole. So I can't be an asshole. What I'm going to say is and listen, stealing from people is not right? And we all know when you illegally stream, that's what we're doing. We're taking out of the fighter's hands. So I won't tell people to do it, but I'm not going to knock it anymore either, because this is the response you get when you don't know your audience. This is your fault as a business. You guys are sitting down in this fucking conference room and you came up with the wrong game plan, because like what I seen someone say about the Paramount deal with the UFC, I got to say the same thing now for DAZN and Turkey. You are going to drive the fan to keep finding that illegal stream. You are going to drive the fan to keep finding a way around your pay-per-view fees or whatever. And if that's buying a box, that's getting a stick, if that's going on fucking Instagram and trying to find live feeds, we will find a way to watch. They have to close that up, or both the deals are going nowhere. You have one sport that's used to watching the shit for free. Now you're asking them to pay this enormous amount. And you got another sport where we're not paying for pay-per-views. We don't even know what's on. You're just going to go, oh, yeah, that Stevenson fight, pay-per-view. Oh, yeah, better be people, pay-per-view. When they weren't back in the day, they wouldn't have been pay-per-view. So yeah, I can't knock the people that don't want to buy into this. I don't know if I don't even know. I won't go on there. Like I said, I'm not going to go here and say that it's all right to steal from these guys, but that's a lot of fucking money, man. When those other, go ahead, Miguel. Sorry.
I know. I was just going to add to that. Maybe I got a couple of loose screws. I don't know, but this kind of feels like we're basically stealing back our money, because they are stealing from us with this shit. You know what I'm saying? So granted, I won't come here and say like, yeah, let's go ahead and steal from these people, but they're definitely stealing from us. You know, with this fucking slap in the face of a pay-per-view tier or whatever the fuck, right? So when I think about that, maybe in this, loose screw, weird rationalizing way that I'm trying to basically rationalize and justify stealing, illegally streaming these fucking things. Well, when this shit is this fucking expensive, what the hell other choice do I have than to just not be a fan anymore? Does that like, no, I'm gonna be a fan. I'm just gonna figure out a way to fucking, not watch it, not pay for these fights. But when these things keep climbing like that, I mean, what other option can we do? It's already a slap in the face. They're already stealing money from us with all these additional fees and the whatever monthly subscription we're gonna have to be paying. All I'm doing here by watching these fights another way is getting my money back. Pretty much from all the times that I've had. How many pay-per-views did I pay that ended up being total fucking duds? Granted, that's on me because I decided to go and fork up the cash myself, saying, all right, this pay-per-view looks good on paper, and it ends up being a total dud. I'm like, man, I feel ripped off after this. Or how many times at the end of the fight, a decision doesn't go the direction that I thought it was going to go, and I'm like, man, I feel ripped off. Hey, at this point, with all these fights that we're watching, this continues. There's always going to be a way for fans to watch fights without fucking paying. So maybe it's just me, in a messed up way rationalizing it, but I'm just getting my money back from all the times that we had to fork up, because we don't always get great fights on a specific month, but I sure as hell have to pay $19.99 to DAZN, a month back in August or whatever the hell it was, that there was like no fucking fights. Well, I still forked up my money for that month, didn't I? You know what I'm saying? Like, now what?
I will go out on a limb here and say we didn't have 6 pay-per-view main events in a single year back in the heyday. Right?
6?
Back in the heyday, yeah, 6. Do you think they had a pay-per-view every other month that the whole world wanted to see?
No, definitely not. No.
Definitely not.
Maybe
right?
every 3 months, maybe.
Yeah. And that was in our heyday. We're talking Roy Jones was out there, De La Hoya was out there, Lennox Lewis was out there. Like, yeah. We're talking the heyday of, in our era. I know the heyday is a little farther back, but we're not old timers here. But this is nowhere near that. I'm telling you, like, Bam Bam Rodriguez is going to be on pay-per-view, Mark. And I know he already has for these guys probably, but mark my words, that's going to be one of the – they said something like 12 pay-per-view events is going to be attached to this.
Mm-hmm. One a month. I mean, that's what the UFC does. That's what the UFC does. There's usually one pay-per-view every month, and granted, they do what they can to like stack them, but that means, unfortunately, a lot of the in-between fight cards on at the UFC Apex on ESPN Plus, they're kind of lame. There was a UFC card this last weekend. I watched it because I'm a fan, but they weren't that great fights. Some of them were pretty good, all right, but I wasn't like, damn, fuck yeah, I'm like so down to watch this card.
Yeah.
I'll wait till next the 15th. There's gonna be a good UFC pay-per-view there. I like I said it earlier before you came back on. If it's a pay-per-view card worth paying, I'm like, fuck it. I don't have a problem forking down that cash, but I will be hard pressed to find 12 pay-per-view cards worth paying for. No, man. Even pay-per-view ones. You see the main event of the pay-per-view that are already scheduled for pay-per-view. I'm like, no, that's not pay-per-view worthy. I don't know what the fuck. My dad will watch these fights, and he's like, why are these guys on the main card of the pay-per-view? Like, who the fuck are these people? Like, no, I'm not down to pay for that. So I get what you're saying. 12 is pushing it.
It's pushing it because, Miguel, they got to give us an undercard too. Where are you getting all those fights from? And what's going to be left for the regular DAZN if you've got 12 pay-per-view cards that you're throwing out there at a time? You know what? They're going to be mixing up all those YouTube fights that DAZN does, all that celebrity boxing bullshit. KS3 will be on the undercard of one of their fights. Like, it's going to, because they're going to run out of shit to think of. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Oh, but we told them we got to get pay-per-views out there so this thing looks legit. Like, yeah, I'm telling you, it's not a good. The more and more those guys stick around, the more and more the bad idea it sounds like this was. I haven't heard a good idea come out of there except they were going to do no pay-per-views and everything was going to be free.
And this is it's bad enough that this is where the state of boxing is, but this is kind of unfortunately, our best representation because ESPN is no longer there, right? ESPN Plus with Top Rank. Top Rank is floating around. They're going to have a Espinosa card here next week. It's going to be on Tubi, bro. I saw it. I pulled it up. It's going to be on some sort of Roku channel or Tubi or some shit. I'm like, what the fuck? This is the position where right now DAZN is it. There is where Golden Boy is. There is where Matchroom is. There is where Queensberry is. And I think there was a point where Bellator was on there and stuff like that. So we thought maybe even Top Rank was going to hop on at some point. Maybe they decided against it, or maybe Top Rank said, or DAZN said no. But bottom line is that is our current HBO, and this is what they're giving us. This is our current HBO right now, and that's where it's at.
This is their first year starting, really. This new
tier or whatever.
Yeah, there you go. So we'll see how long this lasts. I don't expect it to last long. It might not even get off the ground if the subscriptions aren't high, right? Because how are they going to afford all these checks if they're not getting pay-per-view money? I guess they're still got to have a way for guys without the subscription to get pay-per-views, right? Maybe they add $10 to that charge. right? If you're not a subscriber, you'll have to pay
Yeah.
$10 more, but
Yeah,
you'll still get
because
to watch
you
the
still,
fight.
yeah, exactly. You can still order the pay-per-views even without this package. This is specifically the package that includes the pay-per-views. So you still have the option of paying the regular subscription and not this additional package, and then still paying out of pocket for whatever pay-per-views you want to whenever they pop up. So you still have that option.
I'm telling you, Bob is like, wait a minute. So you expect them to pay for pay-per-views they haven't even seen who's on the bill yet? Just laughing, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm glad I didn't sign with you guys.
Yeah, you don't know our fucking sport. This is gonna be bankrupt really fast.
Yeah. It's either pay $500 and some odd dollars for all the cards and pay-per-view, or pay $300 for one of those boxes, and then you get to watch everything. I'm just saying, for the rest of the fucking year.
Everything.
You know what I'm saying?
I
And
even get my Raiders Las Vegas back, bro. Or my Raiders in Las Vegas. I'm just being dead serious. If I invest in one of those, I even get to watch my Raider games. I've never had one, but if I did,
that's what I would do. Just saying.
I'm just saying, man. And now I got my wife telling me I'd be the biggest bill on my cable.
Yikes. Yeah, let's not do that, DAZN, please. Or you know what? You know, it would be pretty. It would tick me off even more if this is how it is, and you still cannot stream a pay-per-view on 2 different devices. Like on top of that, you're still telling me I can't do that after the $540 that I'm paying you, DAZN. Good Lord. Oh boy.
I feel like that's going to your grave with you, bro.
That is. That's gonna be. It's gonna be on my tombstone.
He never understood why DAZN.
Yeah. Just allow me to stream 2 damn, about 1 pay-per-view on 2 devices for crying out loud. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. I don't know if I'll fork up the $540.
Yeah, that's not even hard. That's really not even a hard fucking request.
Oh my. All right, just want to toss this in the last one here real quick. So I saw this recent. We talked about, I think a week ago, the cancellation of Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. The fight was completely, pulled. We were under the impression that maybe they were going to try to salvage the card somehow and get some sort of substitution and get another fighter to hop in there in place of Gervonta Davis. All these names popped up, everyone from Nate Diaz to Francis Ngannou. I'm sure there's a few other ones that aren't coming to mind right now, but turns out that at the end, basically the fight's going to be canceled entirely, and the date's going to be postponed. Jake Paul is going to be fighting someone else. It's not going to be Gervonta any longer. Whether or not that means Gervonta will come back to boxing is another story. But one of Gervonta's coaches decided to take to social media to give us another example or another reason why the fight didn't go down. Now, the fight was canceled. Supposedly, it was due to Gervonta's legal battles outside of the ring. We can all kind of look past that, and that's just some sort of cover story, some sort of front. I'm sure tickets weren't selling very well. Andrew hit it on the nail there. I'm sure people came to the conclusion that we can see now that Jake Paul has a ceiling, and we understand that now, and it wasn't going to get past that with Gervonta Tank Davis, but that's what it looked like. But what is the reason that they're giving us? It's it's Gervonta and his legal troubles outside of the ring. Well, Gervonta's coach Kenny Ellis decided to go to social media and give us another reason. He claimed that Jake Paul isn't telling the truth. All right, so tell us, Ellis, what's going on? Netflix did not pull the fight, so don't blame Gervonta. Don't blame Gervonta's accusations regarding the stuff going on outside of the ring. Jake Paul has far worse track record. He backed out. He was scared. He said he was scared out of his own mouth, saying that Jake Paul said he was scared. 2 weeks from the fight, Jake's contracted weight of 195 pounds, or that's what the weight that they decided to fight at, 195 pounds. I bet he's nowhere near fight weight. It's so many games being played here. So now he's saying, or at least Ellis is saying, you know what? I think Jake Paul was fucking scared. I think as the fight approached, he came to the conclusion and realized, Jake Paul, I'm saying, that he's not going to be making that 195-pound weight. I don't know if I remember correctly when Jake Paul fought Anderson Silva. I think it was 190, the weight limit there. So I don't see why that would be the case. But it's just another throwing another reason into why the fight was canceled. Now I was trying to make sense of what Ellis was saying here, and when I first saw this Instagram post, it said, he backed out. He said he was scared, and it has a picture of Gervonta Davis. So I thought, what? Gervonta wouldn't be fucking scared. Well, Andrew, you said he might be, right? I mean, give us some info on that or some insight. Why would he be?
And yeah, scared might be too strong of a word, but nervous that they were going to pull some bullshit at the end, right? Right before, maybe the week before, few days, do a Ryan Garcia, basically.
Yeah.
And kind of force the hand on Gervonta to like, oh, are you going to take this fight or not? It's in his ball game now, or his side of the court now. So we heard Gervonta talk about he threatened Jalen Love about the steroids thing, or what people thought were steroids, when he told them, if I find out y'all ain't clean, I'm gonna whoop both of y'all asses. So on that moment, Davis looked a little bit nervous about maybe someone coming in dirty. Now we're hearing possibly weight, that he was already moving up the weight. And actually, matter of fact, they moved up the weight at the press conference.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Devon says, oh, you said 190, and he starts like laughing. Well, bro, the bullshit was already starting, right? Gervonta Davis is one of the faces in boxing. They probably know there's a lot more to risk on the table than this little $10 million, because I don't think it was ever going to be a $30 million payday for Gervonta, but a little $10 million payday. Maybe they all sat down and decided that the better decision is go pursue your boxing career, where you're going to be making a lot more fucking money than this one time with Jake Paul. And maybe it didn't even reach the 10 million that they wanted, right? Because me and Miguel did look for tickets, and we could get 6, I think, front row seats.
Still available, yeah.
2 weeks before the fight is never a good look for your fight. So, yeah, it's possible that they were nervous. It's a bad title, but I get it if Gervonta and them were like, nah, dude, they're already playing games. I'm not waiting until the week of the fight to find out that I'm fighting a guy 34, 40 pounds heavier than me.
Yeah. And we know that at least based off of that interaction that they had at the press conference, that there was already some shady shit going on, right? So that we wouldn't put it past them to try to come up with that, because really this was supposed to be one of the tests that Jake Paul can turn around and tell his fans, see, I'm legit. I can beat this dude. But he's going to try to take as many shortcuts as he possibly can and have as many advantages as he possibly can, one of them being size, of course, right? So we can see why that would be the case for Gervonta, at least according to Alice's claim here, that it was weight on Jake Paul's side. But it was supposed to happen this Saturday. We were supposed to, this fight was still on. It was supposed to have been this Friday or Saturday, 14th or 15th, whatever the fuck it was. It was supposed to have been this weekend. If everything stayed, if I remember correctly, because I think next weekend, not this weekend, but the following one is the 22nd, and that's the Ring Magazine 4 card with Benavidez and Yarde and Brian Norman, right, and fucking Haney, which we will talk about in detail on next week's show, right? Because it's the week of, I guess it'll be the go home show. But yeah. That it was supposed to be this weekend, so much for that. We still got some fights this weekend, of course. We still got Chris Eubank and Conor Benn rematch going on DAZN pay-per-view this Saturday, or the 15th. I don't remember if it's UK time, right? So I don't know if that's Friday or Saturday. But anyway, this weekend, the 15th, we have that. And then, as I mentioned earlier, Rafael Espinosa is going to be on fighting in Mexico. I think that's going to be, I thought I saw it's going to be on Tubi, so you can probably find it on Tubi. But again, if you have one of those magical boxes, I'm sure you can find it. I'm sure you can. But yeah, that was going to be this weekend. So much for Gervonta and fucking Jake Paul, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up the majority of stuff that I want to talk about here. I had all the stuff here. Andrew, was there anything additionally that you would like to add to this?
Nope, and I didn't check. I don't even know where my phone's at right now, but I didn't check to see if there was any breaking news. I think the The breaking news I had in the beginning was the Joe Rogan one. I just barely
yeah.
seen that, and I didn't see anything else.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Before I forget, of course, hey guys, make sure to check out our show sponsor, Health E Sol. That's Health Y Sol. They are a tallow-based soap. Make sure to give them. I probably should give them a shout out earlier in the show, but we're just so into this damn show today that we forgot to bring it up. But this episode brought to you by Health E Sol. Make sure to give them a try. Check them out. If you find anything you like, use the code MADBoxing10 at checkout and get 10% off of your purchase, or check out the affiliate link that we're going to have in the description. So make sure to check them out. Go ahead, Andrew. What's up?
Breaking news sent to me by my friend Ochoa. Guardians pitchers with an S indicted in gambling scheme involving Major League Baseball games. Cleveland Guardians pitcher Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz were indicted on charges related to an alleged gambling scheme on Sunday. Clase and Ortiz were accused of rigging bets on Major League Baseball games. Ortiz was arrested early Sunday, according to ESPN.
Wow, early this morning. So that's today. He was just arrested just today. And he's a pitcher for the Guardians, you said? The Cleveland Guardians?
Cleveland Guardians,
Damn, it's been a minute since I've watched baseball. When you said Guardians, I was like, what the fuck was that? I had no, it wasn't, he said Cleveland. I was like, oh, you mean the Cleveland Indians?
One of those, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't be called an Indian.
Right. Can't be called one of those.
I already told you. You heard the Redskins? Their tribe is trying to sue to get the chief back on.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a great one. That's a funny one, bro. Like, no, that was a real guy, you assholes.
Yeah, you should have left that as it was.
Yeah, it wasn't no joke. It was a real dude.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't just some exaggerated character. It was a legitimate person. Well then, all right. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for us today. I'm sure there's gonna be some news between now and Wednesday. Usually we do a Wednesday show. If there isn't any news, then we usually skip it and then wait until Sunday. But if there's something popping, we'll make sure to pop up on Wednesday on your guys' feed. So we appreciate your patience and sticking with us. Of course, if anything else comes up, by all means, you let us know. We always want to hear from you guys in the comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. But that's gonna wrap it up. For my co-host, Andrew, don't get it twisted, Lapichet. This is Miguel Antonio Barragan, a.k.a. Fight Feed Migs, and this has been the Mad Boxing Show. Thank you for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Take care. Peace.